Okay, I'm not starting quite fresh, as you can see. This is right after my previous guitar build, number 7. But I'm going on a trip, and I want to build a small travel guitar that's, as light and small as possible, so I have more room for luggage, clothing, things that I don't want a guitar to take up space-wise. We're going to either use this piece or this piece of eucalyptus, which is pretty lightweight, and this is like the perfect size for the entire fretboard I need. We're going to probably put 1 or 2 strips of this mahogany to reinforce the headstock, or just make it look nice. This is going to be the neck here. So from here to here is going to be the neck, or the main part, and then I'm going to cut another chunk for the headstock, or 2 chunks, and then combine them together, and then trim the outsides. And this is going to be the body here. So you're wondering, how is this one piece of wood going to be the body? Well, this right here is actually going to be the body, and it's going to be only as wide as the bridge. And then I'm going to probably shave off some of this as well, make it thinner. This is going to be the soundboard, and it's literally going to be like that big. So I'm going to put like one brace down the middle, or none at all. But I'm going to make this, super thin. Yeah, so it's going to be a pretty cool little experiment to see, how small can you make the guitar and still have it project enough sound, but be travel friendly. It's going to be a nice little balance and nice little experiment. It's going to probably sound horrible, but here we go. And just to clarify, this is a piece of oak, I believe, that I found in the garbage. Someone was throwing away this piece of wood. So I was like, I'm going to use that for a guitar build. And this is a piece of cedar from a piece of fence that was being thrown away. So this is like a cedar fence post. So, this is the spalted maple that we're working with. I'm just joking. This is just the oak and the mahogany. But yeah, we need to cut this out for the headstock and the other part of the neck. And then this turned out pretty well, I'd say. Look at that. Excellently braced. We'll shave this in a little bit. And then we gotta make this a bit thinner, don't we? Okay, let's start off with that.
We gotta give him that corn and he's like, hey, just jump up and bite my finger off.
That's the woodworker's wiggle. Oh, shit. Shout out to Geiker. They make some awesome tuners. They got these ball bearings in the end here so they don't bind. Now, obviously, I want this to sound as good as possible, but given the size, I don't think it's going to be possible. But it's going to be a great travel tool for, keeping your fingers warmed up in the off season, when you're not at home. So hopefully it'll sound audible. And here she is all strung up. So, it's very quiet. It's difficult to play compared to, other things, but it's so small. The 10-degree headstock angle was a really good choice, I think, on my part, because it makes it to where it's a little bit easier to fit in a bag, that's not intended for a guitar. I built it, I kind of overbuilt it. It's very thick in all the wrong places and thin in all the wrong places, but overall it's built to be solid. You could throw this in a bag and not really worry about it. The heaviest thing on here, honestly, is the tuners, but it's super tiny. I made the neck profile similar to like an Ibanez, sort of flat and wide. Obviously, it's a 2-inch neck here, so you got plenty of room to finger your strings. The best way to play is kind of like lock your wrist over it and then kind of hang your hand over the fretboard a little bit. Just to compare, this is my number 6 ukulele that I built. Sounds gigantic compared to this thing. But of course, this was not intended to project. If it was intended to project, I would have made it a bit bigger. This was made to be as small as possible and as travel friendly as possible. You could almost put this in a fanny pack. It's that small. The scale is like sort of like a soprano ukulele, and it is actually a bit quieter than most soprano ukuleles that I've played. But that could be a good thing if you're practicing and you just try to like practice some scales or something like that. Who knows? Maybe you want it to be quiet so you're not annoying the person in the next room over, or if you're practicing at night, there's some benefits. Yeah, you can play it like a violin if you want to play a fingerstyle violin. It sounds a little bit Middle Eastern. So this guitar is a bit easier to play completely naked, just because it kind of sticks to your skin more so than it does a shirt. I probably will never make this guitar again, but it is kind of a nice little welcome addition to my collection I've been building here. I've just been building whatever comes to my mind. My next guitar, I believe I'm going to build maybe a parlor-size guitar, or maybe even a full-size guitar, but make it really thin and see how big of a sound I can achieve. I really like it. It plays as good as it can for its size, and it sounds maybe not as good as it can, but pretty decent for how big it is. I probably could have done without that middle brace in there. I think it's pretty useless, being that this is pretty much riding on the strongest part of the guitar. So I probably should have just left that middle brace off completely. I like the little headstock. I think I tried to do a little bit more careful measurements this time to make sure like the center strip was actually in the middle. you know, and make sure like things were even on this one. I do want to say that every bit of the wood on this guitar was actually going to be thrown away. This piece of wood was not going to be used because it wasn't long enough for a bigger guitar. This neck was literally in the garbage. You know, this piece of oak that I have here was in the garbage. The center strip that's going through the neck, and then the headstock here, this was just a piece of scrap wood. This piece of fretboard was too short for anything, so luckily it was like the perfect length for this build. Even this the guitar top here was a piece of cedar that was no longer long enough for a guitar. So this entire build, besides my time of course and the hardware, was free. So that's kind of cool too, to know that, you know, this would have gone in the garbage pretty much if I hadn't done this. I learned that I do like this 10-degree headstock, so I'll probably do this again in the future on my smaller builds, because I really like making the thin guitars, and having a really steep headstock angle is not the greatest for, you know, if you drop it or if you set it down somewhere, like it's a little bit prone to breaking. It's just overall a lot of fun things, and I learned a couple new things. So yeah, it was a success. Have a good day. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video. Number 8, baby, number 8.